So, Under Paris is a brand new 2024 French film that I had no idea existed until today, and it was released today. So, this was a bit of a surprise from me. And this is from the director of Hitman, The Divide, and most notably, Frontiers, which is a really damn good movie. And I was like, okay, we got to check this one out. And this is a shark movie. So I was like, okay, we don't get a lot of good shark movies. I'm hoping that this can be better than most. This stars the actress from the movie The Artist, which I'm a big fan of. And she was most recently in the One Cut of the Dead remake, which was also French. And this deals with a woman whose team has things go terribly wrong with this shark that they're tracking. And then years later, this shark makes its way into Paris. Yep, we got sharks in Paris, which of course, if you are a fan of low-budget shark movies, you will know that this is not the first Sharks in Paris film. But, okay, so this film's fucking ridiculous. And there's a good amount of CGI. And I think if you're like a big shark film fan and you have seen a plethora of them, this is definitely better than most, right? This is definitely better than any of those, like, there's so many. It's insane. I don't know why there's so many cheap shark movies, but the amount of titles that are out there is just absurd at this point. Raiders of the Lost Shark, freaking Sharks of the Corn or whatever, like House Shark, Ghost Shark. You can think of it. It's probably been made at this point, so it's much better than any of that crap. But of course, Jaws is always that film that everyone goes to, and it's nowhere near on that level. But if you want a kind of mindless, fun shark movie that goes completely overboard in its final act and actually ended very surprisingly, and I was like, oh, okay, that was not what I expected, which I really appreciated. I think that everything in the movie is just absurd. There's so many decisions that are being made. There's so many, plot issues that are purely there for plot convenience and tropes and whatnot. So you got to just accept the movie. You got to just roll with the movie. And if you can do that, you can have a good time. It's definitely a turn your brain off kind of film that's, I would liken to something like Deep Blue Sea or The Meg, right? It's just kind of but this one does take itself a little more seriously because our main character here, who is a really damn good actress, she has some melodramatic stuff going on because of what happened to her in her past. There's some character moments in this, especially from the younger team that comes and approaches her and how they're handling things later, and you're like, why would you not think this was a problem when you knew it was earlier? So there's stuff like that where you're kind of like, huh, okay, I guess. Then there's this like kind of love interest cop in this that looks like a freaking GQ model. I mean, this guy is just ridiculously good looking, and they have this kind of romantic thing potentially brewing and whatnot. Most of that stuff you don't really care about. It's just kind of there. It's all just kind of there to get you from one shark scene to the next. As far as the sharks go, there's a lot of CG here. There is some practicals, but they're few and far between. And I'd say the shark scenes range from not good at all to that looked fine, and some are like, oh, that's a cool image. But yeah, it really ramps itself up in that third act and is just fucking insanely ridiculous, which is fun. And it's like, at this point, give it to me. Give me the entertainment. I don't care. I'm having a good time. I actually like laughed out loud and was like, holy shit, a couple times during that. So yeah, if you want carnage, if you want to see sharks killing a whole mess of people, then this is definitely your film. If you don't care about the contrived freaking plot line, the been there, done that. Of course, the people who were in charge, it's very Jaws in that way. Kind of look past it. Oh, but what about the money and the tourism and the thing that we got coming up and all that shit? It's all the typical stuff you see in all of these movies. But there's some fun stuff in this. It's dumb, but so is Deep Blue Sea. So was The Meg. Right, so were a few other bigger budgeted shark movies. This one had a decent budget to it for sure, and where it goes in the end, I was like, okay, that went bigger than I was expecting it to. So, if you're a big shark fan, you absolutely should watch this movie. If you're someone who's like, I only really like Jaws, I'm looking for a shark movie that can match the quality of that, then forget it. And if you're somebody who's like, I don't like shark movies, then absolutely forget it. So this is only for the shark enthusiast out there. And there's gotta be a ton. There's just gotta be. Because they make endless amounts of these fucking things. From Sharknado to 2-headed, 3-headed, 4-headed, 5-headed, 6-headed Shark Attack. To, like, as I said, the list goes on and on and on. What was that? Shark and Saw... Trailer Park Massacre or something. There's just so many. And then there's like the next tier up, which are actually pretty good films, like The Shallows, like 47 Meters Down, and The Reef and stuff like that. Those are actually pretty good. This is one rung under that, in that Deep Blue Sea Meg territory. So there's like a ladder. There's the like Asylum, Sharknado, fucking 3-headed Shark Attack, the Sharktopus versus, that kind of shit. That's like the bottom rung of the ladder. Then you move up, and there's like movies like Bait or The Black Demon or something like that, and they're like, oh, they're bad, but they're not like Asylum bad. And then you go up from there to like the fun, okay-ish movies, which is like this and the other movies. Then you go up the next rung, and then the last rung is kind of like Jaws on its own. Jaws just kind of sits there alone forever. I don't know, man. Will we ever get anything remotely close to Jaws as a shark movie? I don't know. I don't think. It's been almost 50 years, right? Jaws will be turning 50 next year. And it's like, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. After 50 years and 6,000 of these shark movies, nothing's ever even come close. So it's kind of wild. But this movie at no point is ever trying to be Jaws. I think it's very aware of what it is, albeit a little more serious than I would have thought it would take. But the amount of panic in this movie that gets people killed is really funny. And there's some pretty funny stunts that are like, oh wow, that must have hurt. So I shouldn't say funny. I would say like, oh, whoa, that actually looked painful. So yeah, but having not even heard of this thing until today, I woke up and Austin Burke, a guy that I've been following since he had like less subscribers than me, and now he has 5 times as many subscribers as me. Good for him. More actually. I think he has like 8 times more now. He had a thing up on there, and I was like, a shark movie, really? And I went and I googled it, and holy shit, Frontiers director, horror movie, Netflix, upcominghorrormovies.com, and every other site had no mention of this. This was on no radar of mine at all. And I try to look into these things every freaking day, basically. I'm always on this. And this one completely slipped by me. It just swam right on by. But yeah, big shark fanatics, get on it. No one else should apply. All right, guys, let me know. Bye.